Welcome to CCRPG, where we open up our virtual table and play games with some good friends. I'm Bob, and I'll be running Lancer. I'm joined today by Todd, portraying Astro Jamin.
Hi.
Chuck, portraying Evelene Bolick.
Wait, where am I?
Jeremy, portraying Dyne Starseeker.
Hello.
And Jay, portraying Steve Starling.
Wait, where's Chuck?
Last time, we saw the DBC Crew deploy down to the planet via drop pods with the aid of Forvian Crow. What awaited them was the security for 70.106, including defense turrets and 2 unidentified prototype mechs. It was hard fought, but in the end, the defenses were no match for the combined might of our Lancers. We return to the scene just after the conflict subsides. 70.106 in front of them. Industrial buildings, various plants, ruins of the historic city that once sat here, and gigantic exhaust vents, billowing caustic clouds up from their bowels. After a moment of stillness, it appears no other forces are imminent. What do?
I guess we should move into the gates. Astro will, the combat just having ended, Astro will radio everyone just to check in. Everyone okay, still breathing?
Perfectly fine.
More or less.
I'm still here.
All right. So that was our first, that was our welcoming committee. They gave us a very nice welcome, but hopefully we don't see too much more of that.
Yeah,
So-
what was up with those mechs? Like, couldn't even pick up models on them.
Well, it's no surprise to me that they're going to have some tech that we're not familiar with. They're obviously doing some off the books experimental research here. So we better tread carefully.
All right, let's go.
Can I scan the gaseous vents over there? What are those? Are those?
All right. That is definitely something that you can pick up once you pull closer to the gate. Most of the giant exhaust vents you see beyond the walls seem to be kind of situated between various production buildings. You are getting readings that most of the buildings in this near side of the city are receiving power of some sort, but that does not extend to every building. It is like they've built an industrial campus in the midst of the ruins of a city that hasn't existed for over a century. So there's this juxtaposition of newer buildings that have designs that you would expect to see, currently up to date, refitted buildings that look like old tenement buildings or old warehouses that seem to be reinforced and repaired with newer materials and powered, and then the ruins of the city that used to occupy this space that might as well be big rocks for what use they have. As you get closer, you are able to take a reading on the vents that are kind of expelling these noxious fumes up between these buildings. Go ahead and make me some sort of sensors check with your mech. I think we don't get to do a ton of skill checks with our mechs, but we should be doing so. Where are...
Systems check?
Yeah, there are the 4 stats. So there's hull, agility, systems, and engineering. I would say this would be a systems check.
Okay. Not very good at that, but I will try. It's a 9.
With a 9, you are able to detect that you don't want to go into them, but you are not sure of their purpose or what their makeup is.
All right. Well, I'll just call out that the gas seems to be hazardous, so let's avoid that.
I'll do a scan of my own.
Yeah, okay, go for it.
on those vents. And I have the good systems, but I rolled an 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, in this case, the group has exhausted what they know.
Yeah.
Don't want everyone just doing conga line checks on them. But let's
Yeah.
say
Aw.
that this represents kind of what the group knows about these. It does appear that these are some sort of hazardous gases. They are things that are not native to the atmosphere, but that is about all you know. You're not able to get a purpose, what they might be used in, especially because you're not linked up with the DBC. You're relying on what you know and what's loaded onto your mech's computers. You don't have access to like what might be info that's in like a database on the DBC or anything like that.
Okay. Let's enter the gates here.
All right. As you kind of approach where the twin turrets near the front gates were, you see kind of like smoking wrecks from what was destroyed. And you approach the gates. The gates are open. They do look like they are gates that have been refurbished. It does appear that this city had gates back when it used to function, but it is very obvious that recent repair work has gone into their make. As you approach, it does look like the gates are just open. They're not like the door is not closed on them, but though it does seem to have a functioning closable gate door. Let's call it like main shipping lane south of the city is basically almost non-existent as soon as you go outside the gates. Inside the city, the various networks of streets and highways are mostly down to ruin, except between the buildings that are currently in use. That seems a little bit refurbished. And that does extend out to the gate, but beyond the gate, no repair work has been done on the highway that you kind of saddled up beside that leads south. Almost completely reclaimed by the wilds and the wilders.
And so there's some other buildings like on the map here. Do these look like new buildings that were built by whoever's here, or are they part of the old city?
A lot of the ones that I put on the battle map that we were using previously are newer buildings.
Yeah.
They are buildings that would have been emplaced. You can even see area where they just clear leveled old buildings to have a big enough footprint to install kind of like new structures. I would say that while you can look at the north of the battle map we were using previously, it is not fully reflective of the city you're heading into.
Sure.
There are a lot more rubbled buildings here and there and like old refabs that you'll see as well. It is much more dense than might appear on the map.
Right. I figured as much. Yeah. What about some of these newer buildings? I'd like to check out the buildings that were obviously just that they cleared out space for, and see if I can get an idea of what kind of infrastructure they were setting up.
All right. Yeah. You are going to go ahead and probably scan those buildings. Go ahead and make me a systems check.
Okay. 12.
With that, you are able to determine there seems to be a split. There appears to be manufacturing buildings. There appear to be storage buildings. There appear to be logistic buildings, and there appear to be tenement buildings.
Okay. Got it. Manufacturing, storage, tenement, and logistics. So I'll say to the group, well, couple options for how we want to move forward. We could start investigating some of these buildings. step out of our mechs, and see what kind of info we can dredge up, what kind of intel we can get, or we can continue moving further into the heart of the city, where we will likely meet resistance along the way, I'm sure.
I mean, we're going to meet resistance here if we stay here too long, too.
Yes. Yeah.
I will note an interesting thing that all of you will have noticed during the battle, that at no point during the battle did you detect an outgoing signal coming from the defenses.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll say that's likely, but strangely enough, they never seem to call for help. Kubrick didn't pick up on any outgoing transmissions.
If you want to know more, you could examine the wrecks of some of the defenses to see if you can piece anything out of what remains.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll help with that.
Yeah.
All right. Then who's going to take the lead on this?
I will.
All right. And we'll do this as pilot checks here, because you can actually take the time to actually get into the mechs and see what's going on with them. At least, pick up pieces and really do some info on them. KESTRAL, what are you helping with?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna help digging through some of the destroyed wreckage to help find some parts or something.
The things that Astro would be able to use.
That he could plug into to see what was happening with them. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to roll a skill trigger to see if you assist.
Investigate.
Absolutely.
10.
And a 10 is enough. With that, Steve, you are able to, without spending too much time, sort through the wreckage of the glint arm, and kind of find pieces of it that were not.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, basically, you are able to find the most well-protected pieces of the mech, and some of them do include computer systems that you believe Astro will be able to use. Astro, what do you do with this?
Yeah, that's perfect, because Astro's plan was to try to check some of the computer systems that might have backup power, or he can provide some sort of emergency power, and check logs, check any sort of data he can get from that.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do that then.
And I'll do also an investigate check.
And you'll have accuracy on
this. Yes. I rolled an 18.
With an 18, Astro, you are able to quickly connect the pieces to some auxiliary power that is available on your mech. And as it reactivates, you are able to get exactly what you're looking for, which is logs. As you look back through the logs that the machine had taken before you destroyed them, it reaffirms your position that they didn't make any outbound signals. They didn't send any distress signals. There were no transmissions. Anything that would have penetrated further away than their sensor range, right? You could tell they were communicating amongst each other, but they made no long-term long-range contact that would have gone longer than their individual sensor range. Because you succeeded, you're able to investigate a little further and kind of trying to figure out why they didn't call for help. You scroll back through their history further and further and further and find they never do. It appears that they're on a check-in system. They make no outbound signals from here for fear of giving away this location to anyone who might be monitoring the planet for signals. So they only respond when they get a check-in request. they don't have the means to send outbound distress signals from here. It appears, per your investigation, whoever's in charge of this place might rather this place fall than people learn about it from an errant signal.
Interesting. About this check-in system, do I get a sense of how often they get a check-in request? Like,
I'm glad you asked,
Yeah.
Comet, because I wasn't going to give you this information unless you did. It appears they are regular check-ins. You have about an hour and a half before this team is going to miss their next check-in.
Do I think that I can sort of hack into the frequency and spoof a check-in, like a check-in affirmative or something?
So that would require you making a dangerous, difficult pilot check when the time comes. So
Okay.
I guess in an hour and a half, if that's something you want to do, we can see if you can pull it off. But in an hour and a half from now, when that check-in signal comes in, if you want to respond from there based on the piecemealed information you have, it will require a dangerous, difficult check to spoof their check-in response.
Okay. Well, team, it looks like we have a little bit of time before the rest of the bad guys are aware that something went down here. They work on some sort of check-in system. We have an hour and a half before the next check-in. So, when the time comes, I could try to spoof an affirmative. Spoof the check-in back. But I'll be honest, I don't know if I can pull it off. And it may.
I don't think you need to pull it off. Even if you just send some sort of signal and purposefully make it choppy, like their communications are down, they might not send more combat mechs necessarily, but some sort of scout or technical team.
Not a bad idea. Yeah, that's good thinking.
And I will give you this. You do also know that if the team misses the check-in, it's not like reinforcements will teleport in around you. You will know that if you fuck up the check-in, you have some whatever their response time is. So you have basically an hour and a half without being under the gun. And then depending on what happens, if you try to spoof the check-in or send something back, depending on how that turns out, you might have a little bit more time or a lot more time, depending on how that plays out.
Go ahead, Evelene.
I guess one thing to consider is what's more likely to get a reaction out of them: someone missing a check-in or someone posing as the people checking in.
Someone posing.
That's what I mean.
What?
I think we're all in agreement. So I'm saying is like maybe we just ignore it because like maybe they'll think like, oh, it's just Steve from Guard who's lazy ass for missed the check-in. So they aren't going to react as heavy as if someone just, oh yeah, someone's pretending to be Steve. That's a bad thing. Okay, Steve was a bad example because we have Steve on our team, but
a little risk versus reward,
yeah.
If I fail to fool them, that might hasten their reinforcements, perhaps. Then again, if it's successful, we've bought ourselves a lot of time, at least another hour and a half.
Yeah, but the downside might not be worth it. Well, let's continue on, and that's something that we can deal with in an hour and a half.
So, for this time we have, does anyone need to make repairs?
Look over at CHIMERA, whose mech has overheated twice.
Yeah, I like to get some stress back.
So, and remember, just like out of character, we can spend an hour of downtime or light activity to I'm looking at the rule book. We get clear all heat, clear any statuses and conditions affecting the mech. And then you can also spend repairs at the following cost. 1 repair would restore full HP or destroy or repair a destroyed weapon or system. 2 repairs restores 1 structure or 1 stress. 4 repairs repairs a destroyed mech, but I don't think we have a destroyed mech.
I don't know if we have an hour.
We have an hour and a half.
You have an hour and a half.
Where have you been?
No, I mean, I would rather, and this is Evelene talking, by the way, I'd rather use the time to investigate about someone coming after us than repair the mech. Understanding the risk of, like, yeah, I'm also more likely to blow up. I don't know I don't remember where everyone else is at. I know I'm not great, but
You're definitely the worst of us all at this point.
okay.
I think it might not be a bad idea. I think we need to be as battle ready as possible. What's everyone else's status? How do you feel?
I'm perfectly fine. I didn't even get shot at, I don't think, in that.
I mean, the people who got damaged were Team Chutoy, so what
Yeah.
do you expect?
Yeah. Hypothetically, could Chimera repair and everyone else investigate?
Yeah, if you want to sit out for an hour and just kind of like hunker down with your mech and work on it while everyone else does investigating, absolutely, you can separate for that.
Yeah, I don't think so. It sounds like I'm the only one who really needs the repairs. It doesn't mean everyone else has to wait for me.
Honestly, I might want to repair too, because I'm not structured or stressed, but I'm down to 1 HP.
You're fine. You're fine. Well, actually, I don't think you need an hour to repair that. You could just
Nope, it's 1 repair will restore full HP. So that's part of the hour downtime options you can do.
You can only spend repairs like the way you're talking about, Evelyn, in combat.
Yeah, I'm realizing that now. Well, that's my 2 cents. I'd say some people should go ahead because we have a window. We shouldn't waste it.
All right. Well, Steve and I can scout a little while you guys repair.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
COMET, are you going to hang back on repairing as well?
I'm gonna hang back with Evelyn and do some repairs
Okay.
on my mech.
So, are you guys going to start doing that at the very beginning, and then we'll see Steve and Dyne do like the initial investigation?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's a good plan. Does everyone feel good about that?
Yeah.
I'm fine with me.
All right.
All right. So, CHIMERA and COMET, you were able to find some area by the front wall of the settlement that is cleared. It appears like what may have once been like areas where like security things might have been set up and stuff like that, where there's large open, like, not tarmac, that's not really the word I'm looking for, but almost like parking, you know what I mean? Like big open areas where you can kind of like power down your mechs, get them in repair mode, and kind of like start using like your harnesses and pulleys and stuff to like lift yourself around the mech and get to what needs fixing. So yeah, you guys sit your mechs down, break out your tools, and get to work. We will have you spend your stuff, so start thinking about how you'll be spending that all, and then you can tell me at the end of the first hour what you've spent and what you've gotten from it.
Yeah.
Let me know if you guys need more repair cap or something too.
And Chuck, I just linked a screenshot of the rules for the resting, so
Nice.
you can
Thank
see
you.
what you can use your repair.
Yeah, I don't think any of you took the GMS thing that allows repairs to be more efficient, right?
No.
There's
I
a
don't
I
even
think there's a
remember-
thing
I
that
don't even
mimics.
remember that. Yeah.
So, you know the original
Probably a core
GMS mechs
thing.
you had? Like the license level 1 mechs you guys had? They had a special thing that was called like modular parts or something that allowed you to only spend one repair to get structure or stress back or something along those lines. So because their parts are so commonplace, it makes them much easier to repair. But I don't think any of you. I think you might be able to duplicate that with like a core power or something. Not a core power, a core system. I forget what they're called. Core bonus is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I was just wondering. I don't know all your core bonuses off the top of my head. All right, so for Steve and Dyne, the other two are setting up to kind of like make sure that their mechs aren't a liability if/when reinforcements arrive. What are the two of you doing? Are you getting out of your mechs to explore the various new buildings here? Are you splitting up, staying together? What's the marching order, so to speak?
Well, we don't know if more people are here, so let's stick together for now, I think.
Yeah.
And do you have any ideas? I hate not knowing what we're looking for.
Astro has some thoughts. He's not going to order you to do anything specifically, but we know what types of buildings we have. Storage, manufacturing, logistics, residential or tenement. Astro's suggestion would be maybe check out some of the manufacturing facilities. Maybe that way you might get a better idea of what sort of things are being produced here. Logistics could probably get you some good intel as well.
It's a good idea. I think we should probably start with barracks and housing first to make sure no one else is here. Then probably onto logistics and then the warehouse.
Sounds like a good plan.
Seems like a plan, yeah.
You'd better look for the biggest building around and go straight to that. This is Evelene talking.
Yeah, I figured.
All right, so after looking around, if you are looking for housing or barracks or personnel areas, you are able to see there are some what seem to be refurbished apartment buildings. Basically, they're not the part of the new buildings. They are kind of a repaired set of old buildings that are part of this industrial campus. You see, as you kind of get closer to the buildings themselves, all the buildings along the side of them, it's not like a siren is going off or anything, but by doors, sometimes on walls, at random places, you will see that there are little, I don't know what you would call them, like bucket lights or like little canister lights, the things that spin around.
Yeah.
Right? Alarm lights, basically, that are spinning a red light. There's no like big siren going off that is, buzzing through the air or anything like that. But as you get closer to the buildings, most of the buildings have somewhere, at various points, every like 10 to 15 feet around like doors and windows and stuff, like a red light that is just rotating. But yeah, that's what you see as you get closer. It's also eerily quiet, and you will need to leave your mechs in the salvaged equipment that Dyne found and CHIMERA repaired, because the atmosphere of this place would be, I wouldn't say, it's not like instantly fatal or anything like that, but you would be pretty quickly incapacitated trying to breathe it.
It's a good thing we got these suits then. Hoo-wee. All right. Well, guess it's time to check out those barracks.
Indeed. Boss always takes us to the best planets.
Yeah, well, let's just make this a one-time trip, okay?
As you move up to the closest apartment building, you see there's like, what you would expect in like a normal residential district. It doesn't appear that architecture has changed too much from, a century back when this place was originally built. There's like a large entry area. There's a few side doors that you can see, but they don't appear to have easy entry from this side. It's a lot of those kinds of things where you can tell like, oh, on the inside of the door, there's like a little push thing that allows the door to unlock. But on the outside of this door, you mostly see just like solid handles with like locks and things on them. So if you wanted to try and get in through a side door, you could try, but you would have to break it in some way. But there is like a main lobby that just seems to have open doors. Not open, but like openable, easily accessible doorways.
All right, well, we'll head in.
All right.
Yep.
As you head in, you open the front door and are greeted by a peculiar sight. The area is kind of in, almost like a power down mode, where it's like emergency lighting that's on. Like the rooms aren't well lit. I mean, luckily it's, what passes for daylight on this planet. The caustic gases outside do kind of bathe everything in like a yellow green kind of like tint as the light shines through it. But inside, where that is less evident, the room is kind of washed in red, as you see those little kind of like klaxon lights along the walls that are kind of rotating. It is a little disconcerting as the light and the quality of the light is constantly changing while you're in here, because all of the lights are rotating at like different speeds and stuff. So there's not a single light on in here that is providing consistent illumination. But it is enough to see the gigantic gate-like device set up in the center of what you imagine used to be the lobby for this hotel. There you can tell an area where the carpet kind of stops abruptly and turns into like harder tiled flooring, that there used to be like a front desk area off to your left. Like everything that was once a fixture in this room is uprooted. It is a giant, mostly rectangular room now, with most of like walls, unnecessary walls, and any tables or any furniture ripped out, and almost like a giant gate going through the center of room, like you would see in like a security station, like going through the airport or something, is the inner area of the apartment building. There's a wall of glass that you can see to the other side of, but is very obviously security glass. As in the very center of it, there is a very machine-y opening in the center that seems to be some sort of scanning like opening, or it almost looks like the X-rays or something you would go through again in like an airport. So it's basically a giant security wall with a single entryway that goes between it, that is some sort of security station or access point or computerized gateway of some sort. There are no physical obstructions in the gateway. It is just open, but it is obvious that there is machinery on.
Don't like the looks of that.
Me neither. What the hell are they trying to make?
As you look a little bit closer at the machinic doorway, you do see that like above the doorway itself, it's labeled ST3.
ST3. Wonder what it could stand for.
Can I investigate the doorway to see if it's going to trigger something if we go through it?
Yeah. What pilot check do you want to use for this?
Probably just investigate again, I imagine.
All right. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time to if you want to be safe before you go through it, but absolutely.
I'll ask Dyne to give me a hand.
Sure, I will give him a hand investigating.
All right, go ahead and make your investigate first then as the assistant.
Okay, investigate. Oh, I rolled a 6.
All right, so you're going to be on your own with this investigate then.
All right. I rolled a 4.
It is. You are unsure. It is evident even in your role play. Like you don't know what this door is for. Like it's an open gate. Like anyone could just walk through it. It's not like a security barred entrance. But it almost occupies the space of something that should be a security barred entrance. There's no one manning the station. There's not even a place for someone to man the station. There's not like a little desk or podium or terminal next to it or anything like that. It just exists. You can tell it's on. Like there are like little pinpoint lights on it at various locations. There are no like ceiling lights or room lights on in the room other than like the rotating warning lights. But this gateway is some sort of powered on machine, but you can't make sense of what it does.
I got nothing. You think we should go through it?
Are we that curious about what's on the other side?
That's why we're here, isn't it?
All right, let's do this.
Is there? I don't know if there's any rubble or anything around to throw through it first. I don't know.
You could find like a random rock or something. That's not you know, it's not beyond the imagination.
Go grab CHIMERA, throw CHIMERA through it.
We'll wait on that for now, but I'll throw like a piece of debris or something through it first, just to make sure.
Yeah, you throw a little piece of debris you find that has like a little bit of rebar go running through the center. You kind of just lob it through. As it goes through, funnily, nothing seems to happen.
How's that funny?
I shrug and then just start walking through it, I guess.
All right. As you walk through, you hear a tone. It almost sounds like dun. It's like a resonant little tone that plays from the gate as you walk through. You know, like you've walked into a convenience store or something like that. The gateway around you seems to do something. Bits of it light up. You hear a little bit of like machinery whirring within it, but nothing evident to you seems to happen.
I just look back at Dyne.
Okay, I guess I will follow.
Right. The exact same thing happens when you walk through. You hear a little dun as you walk through the door, and some machinery whirs. You see some lights, like, you know, almost doing that thing where it's like you hear inside the machine, but nothing evident seems to happen in this room.
A little worried they just recorded us in some way getting in here, so maybe we should try to find their computer system around here. But other than that, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. As you walk further into the building, it does become like an apartment building. There are what appears to be residential rooms on this bottom floor that go, like, if you go down a hallway on this bottom floor, there are a bunch of numbered rooms to the left and right. There is a stairwell that kind of switches back and forth, going up the height of the building, and there appears to be a bank of elevators down here on the bottom floor. You do have to go a little ways beyond the little gateway you came in to access these things, but there is nothing impeding your movement inside here.
Well, shall we explore a little deeper then?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go.
All right, and where do you go?
I will start with any kind of housing building first to see if there's anyone in them.
So, like I said, you will see kind of like little apartment doors on the left and right going down a hallway on the first floor, or you could go up to upper floors either via elevator or staircase, depending on what floor you wanted to explore.
I'll just start on the first floor, I assume.
Yeah, you start walking down the hallway, and then you see left and right. 101 on your left, 102 on your right, 103 on your left, 104 on your right as you go down the hall.
Let's go to the first one, see if it opens.
You head up to 101, and what do? You just try the door.
Yeah.
It goes click, click. It's like a normal locked door handle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're saying it's locked, okay.
Yep. You will notice that these doors have the double of, they seem to have physical locks built into the handles that you could like put a key into. And also there seems to be some sort of electric card reader up and to the left of each door.
What do you think? Do you want to break in or you want to try to find a key? There's probably a master key around somewhere.
Let's explore a little and see if we can find the key. We'll use break-in as the,
How much noise are you making as you do this?
Probably not a lot.
as little as possible.
I assume that there's going to be people around. Okay. Possibly.
So you go up to the first door and you just try. It's not like you're jamming on the door or anything. You just try it gently, and when it resists, you just kind of let go of it. Yeah. You're not doing the thing where you're like click a or anything like that, right?
Police, open up!
FBI!
All right. Yeah, you found the first door. Definitely locked. What are you doing?
Just explore around. Right. I assume all the numbered doors are locked at the moment.
Yeah, as you go around this little thing, you just, now knowing what to expect, you tilt all of the door handles just enough to see that there's resistance there, that they're not going to open or remove whatever bolt is holding them shut as you put some pressure on the handles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just going to go around and look for a security office or something that stands out other than these numbered doors. That might mean going upstairs. I'm not sure, but...
Yeah. As you guys are looking around, I want both of you to give me something for stealth. If neither of you have a skill that directly relates to stealth, you'll have to roll just flat pilot checks.
The closest that I would have is stay cool.
Not in this situation.
Yeah, I don't think that works.
Like I said, that's the closest that I have.
All right.
All right, so roll a 1d20. Oh, an 18.
That's pretty good.
Hey, 20.
You guys are really doing a good job at like keeping it down. After you get in, you're like, there might be people here. You're making sure that like there's carpeting in here, and you're making sure to like pad your way along the carpeting so you don't like make the sound of, you're like wearing combat attire, right? You're not like making heavy boot falls though. You're making sure your gear isn't hitting off walls as you move around these hallways. You're checking these handles and making sure that even people on the other side, if there are people in these rooms, maybe they wouldn't notice the amount that you're manipulating their doors. You go up and down this first hallway. You do see where it U's around and then comes into a back area towards the back of the building. It appears kind of like KESTRAL, you believe. There are more like managerial rooms here, things like what you would figure would be the old offices and stuff for the running of this building. In fact, you even walk past one door where you can barely make out, there's like a little glass pane built into the door. There's centuries old workout equipment in that room, like it used to be a gym back when this building was in actual use. As it wraps around, though, you are able to see that you're on the other side of the door that would have been behind the front desk that was removed, and you appear to be in kind of like an admin office for the building. There are desks in here with like the little honeycombed kind of like cubby wall where there's like a thing for every numbered apartment. You know, the entire top row is like the ones, you know, 101, 102 and stuff like that. And it kind of makes a grid going all the way back down to the bottom. It is a 20-story building. So there's, you know, 20 rows of apartment cubbies. There is desks with material on them, various papers and whatnot. And it does appear that there is a single like personal like terminal. It doesn't look like, you know, big industrial terminals like you guys would see other places. It looks like something like an accountant might use, just kind of like set up on a desk nearby.
All right, I want to look for two things. First off, I want to see if any of the keys for the apartments are missing. You said there was little honeycombed areas for the different keys or whatever, or the different apartments?
Yeah, they're like the cubbies for like maybe incoming mail or packages or messages that need to be sent to the residents and stuff like that.
Okay. I thought they were like key holders or something for them.
No, unfortunately not key holders, but you can still investigate the cubbies if you would like.
Yeah, I'll take a look around them, although I'm not expecting much. It'll be quick, I think.
All right,
basically, if it requires a pilot check, I don't know that I would find something. Maybe, I don't know.
It will definitely require a pilot check. What are you looking for before you start, though?
I mean, something that stands out. If there's old, decrepit paper from, like, old mail from back in the day, obviously I don't care about anything like that, but something that was disturbed or how do I put it? I mean, it's cop out, but just something out of the ordinary, I guess.
That's fine. Yeah, go ahead and make me a check.
I guess I'll just make an investigation again.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I don't know, a 5.
You go through, and honestly, a lot of it is like nothing. Like, there's a lot of nothing here. Mm-hmm. You go through, and even in some of them, you're like, there are things that might be more recent, but it doesn't make any sense to you. There's like, you know, just papers and pamphlets, and a lot of it looks like stuff that would have been official material for the hotel back in the day. It's more well preserved than you would have expected, but like maybe that's just because this place had a pollution problem and none of their shit breaks down. Yeah, it's just a lot of cubbies. There's like, you know, 20 rows of like 10 units per row. You're going through one by one, and the amount of time you're willing to spend on it is just, you don't find anything.
Yep, that's fine. The other thing I want to look for is some sort of like master key or something.
Oh, sure. But what's Dyne doing?
Dyne would walk over to this like accountant's computer and see if it even powers on.
Okay. You're able to find the various buttons on it, and then you're able to determine fairly quickly, this is a modern terminal. This isn't like one remaining from when this hotel would have been like in service. This apartment building was in service. It is just like you see a one wire coming out the bottom of it that goes like behind the desk into the wall. You power it on, and it is locked. It is like, as soon as you open it up, it is asking you for like credentials.
Well, they probably blew up, huh? All right. Well, Dyne will kind of, since he's sitting at the desk, he'll search around the desk to see if he can find the master key.
Okay, sure. Yeah, go ahead and make me a check.
You know what? Since it worked so well before, we'll go with investigate.
Right. It's going to take a little bit of time. You're both investigating, trying to look through here, which means you're taking your time, like looking through the various drawers, like lifting things up, looking underneath of them.
19.
With a 19, as you do so, you're kind of like looking through things, lifting things up, pulling drawers out, looking behind them. You're really giving these places a go. You're able to see that actually where the terminal connects into the wall is just kind of like patched. And you realize it's like, oh, it's not connecting to the wall in this room. It's going into the next room over. And you walk around the side and yeah, it's just like a closet when you open the door, but you open the door and you see, oh, this is where the terminal plugs in. There seems to be like a little wall bank where the terminal goes through the wall and plugs in inside this little closet. It is plugged into something more akin to like an outlet of a generator. It is not built into the wall. It is like an extension cord has been wired coming into the wall of this room. And the little bank of like where you can plug into for that extension cord happens to let out into this closet. So it does definitely look like they've just, kind of run their own wires through the building, through this system. As you kind of look around where this little power bank comes into the closet, you are able to find a what looks to be like a dropped piece of what's the word? A dropped piece of mail's the wrong word. Correspondence is the wrong word. A piece of information that is meant to go to one of the residents of the building.
Like a memo or whatever.
Yeah, kind of like a memo, right? It is definitely meant to be sent to one of the residents of the building. It is modern looking, and what it says on it is demerit at the top, and underneath it has a little bit of nonsense about like person's name, what room they live in, why they got the demerit, and what the demerit means. And what it says is this demerit means that this person is going to have to work 2 weeks in the breaths, is what it's called.
Well, that sucks for them.
So yeah, you come back out of this room, you have this little sheet of paper that is this demerit form. It seems to be for someone who's on 305.
I wonder what the breaths is. As I hand the note to Steve. Any luck on your end?
The breasts? I grab the note and look at it.
Steve, this is something that only you would notice when you looked at this paper. This person has been charged with a demerit in room 305. They will spending 2 work weeks working in the breaths. And there... have it written down here because I forgot it off the top of my head. Their name is Zippo Edge.
You said I know
That's
something
a name
about
you would recognize.
Oh, here's your buddy from the
I was just
prison.
saying, I'm
That's
waiting
why
for the
that
reaction.
sounded familiar. Okay.
Specifically, they are the person you sold out during your informant stint that you met in the prison.
Okay. I don't like the enunciation you used on that there, okay. The person that I successfully used to further my mission.
So you screwed him over.
Potato, potato.
Yeah. Okay. I thought nobody's been down here for 100 years.
Well,
I look over at Dyne.
You do know these buildings are in use.
Yeah, no, I'm talking to Dyne when I say this.
Well, then either they're currently in use or we've somehow time traveled, and I'm betting more on the fact that they're currently in use. Do we want to go check out room 305?
When I was with or around Zippo at all, like, they never mentioned anything about the planet. No one did, right? When I was undercover?
No, they don't know about this.
Why would his name appear here?
Well, it seems he was
yeah.
issued a demerit.
Yeah, I guess let's keep looking. Huh.
All right, where do you guys go?
Well, it said room 305 on the memo, right?
It did.
As I look at Steve, just like, do you want to check out room 305?
Probably best to, at the very least. I kind of try to scrounge around a little bit more to see if I can find a key in case it's locked or something.
You scrounge around, but you even check the cubby for 305. There appears to be another demerit form in that cubby.
Yeah, that probably checks out with him. All right, well, let's go. I can't find anything, so...
All right, are you taking the elevator or the stairs?
It's only 3 floors up. Let's take the stairs, just in case the elevator's tracked in some way.
Yeah, I agree.
You've been, exploring now maybe 20-some minutes, going through the building, trying to see what's going on. You track your way up the staircase, making it eventually to the 3rd floor. You start stalking carefully. I'm going to let you continue your stealth check as like a general stealth check until something changes that. You plod your way through the hallway, getting to 305. If you check the door, it is locked. But there is still the rotating red lights going through all the hallways here. Again, no noise is being made, but just this rotating red light.
All right, well, I'm going to try to pick the lock if I can.
You absolutely can. Is KESTRAL good at picking locks?
Does stay cool count?
It does not.
Then no, but I'll roll.
Oh, no. Stay cool does count. Yeah, dexterity or speed or concentration under pressure. Absolutely. You can pick locks with stay cool.
Okay.
Can I give him some help with a spot check to spot details that might be difficult for him to notice while he's focusing on the lock?
Go for it.
All right, we'll roll. I rolled a 5. Okay, Dyne's not good at locks.
Dyne sees nothing.
That's a lock.
I rolled a 12 on mine.
Okay. You mess around with the lock a little bit. What kind of tool do you have to get in here? Do you actually have a set of lock picks? What's Steve have?
I assume it's like a Swiss Army knife kind of thing that just has like different little, little metal tools that I can pull out for different locks and something,
Like
Nothing
a little
fancy.
utility knife / multi-tool.
Yeah, it's something very simple. It's nothing fancy, just, for situations kind of like this when I need to get in somewhere. But
All right. You mess around with the door, and as you're pushing on it, you hear a gentle click noise as all of a sudden you are able to move the handle further than you could before.
okay. I'm going to very carefully and quietly open it up and start to look inside.
I will need another stealth check of some sort.
All right. Well, we'll have to roll another flat d20. And roll 1d20. 16.
All right. Ryan, coming in behind, you do not alert anyone to the fact that there is a second presence here. But KESTRAL, as you slowly open the door and start to push your way into the room, as the kind of like door swings open and groans on its hinges a bit, it is a 100-year-old door. Someone inside the room goes, hey, who's there? As a figure in the room comes to start to round the corner.
I am going to immediately charge and try to, like, grab and cover whoever's there's mouth.
All right. That's going to definitely be a check. This will be a dangerous check.
An assault?
Absolutely.
21.
With a 21, you do so without repercussion. In fact, you are so skilled, you rush forward low. They look over your head, not seeing Dyne, who is successfully hidden just beyond the doorframe. And by the time you stand up and are in their vision, you have pinned them against their wall and covered their mouth with your hand. This is Zippo Edge, who you know from your time in prison. Zippo looks a bit different than you last remembered seeing them. There are metal protuberances on either side of his neck that seem to extend behind him and kind of go down the back of his spine. Where his Adam's apple would be on the front of his neck is kind of almost like a metal spine that goes down from the bottom of his chin and down below the opening of his shirt. Just barely, you can tell by having pressed him up against the wall, there is some sort of spike that is jutting out of the back of his neck.
All right. I'm going to use my free hand to just, like, make a shushing motion to him, and then look back at Dyne, make sure he's coming in and closing the door.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. You slowly close the door behind you. Zippo, wide-eyed, having been thrown against the wall here, was totally ready to brawl, right? You pushing him up, he recognizes you eventually as he sees who you are and drops his guard.
It's been a little while. I remember a guy named Zippo. I don't remember exactly what my relation to him was and what I did with him. Which one was he?
Zippo Edge was kind of the firecracker in the prison. He was the one who was always starting fights, who is the most disobedient of the prisoners. Mm-hmm. He is one of the crew of the people that you kind of got on the side of to get a little bit more in. That's with right. Parvin, who was
I took some heat for defending him one time.
Yes. Parvin is the one you were cellmates with. Mm-hmm. Zippo was the rebel, hot-headed troublemaker. Okay. He is also a person who started his own division of Oath when he was released from prison. And Tabitha advised that getting rid of his cell would make hers more effective, which is why you turned him in.
Mm-hmm. We're going to find out if he knows I turned him in or not here in a second. I will just slowly start taking my hand away from his mouth and go, Zippo?
You were still under your,
pretense of someone who works with him.
You were using the name that you all gave for contests as you were in prison, weren't you? You were using your contest name.
I think so, yeah.
Which was for you, Little Bird. Well, Little Bird was your call sign. Oh, you used your real names.
It didn't matter.
The three of you, because it didn't matter for you three.
Only Astro changed his name.
Yeah, you changed your call sign, but not your name. So he would know you as Steve. He goes, Steve, what are you doing here?
I was about to ask you the same thing.
He looks off to the side, a little pained. He's like, it's not like I'm here because I want to be. How the hell did you get to this hellhole?
Believe it or not, I did kind of want to be here. We're investigating what's going on down here. I didn't expect to see you.
What's down here mean?
Do you know where you are?
I don't know. Some factory?
You're on planet.
No, that can't be right. No one's been down to Batuska for over a century. Well, except for those survey teams.
Oh, congratulations. You are now on the planet.
Why would I lie about
that? He looks a little bit bewildered. that doesn't make sense. He starts to look a little fuzzy, and he starts to look a little faint, like he's like almost like swimming. You know what I mean? He starts to look like his head's swimming a little bit. He looks a little bit like not able to put things together.
Hey, whoa. Here, hey, focus on me for a second here, buddy.
He like shakes his head and like refocuses on you. It's like, okay.
What are you doing here? Other than I'll hold the paper up, getting demerits.
He like looks at it, rubs his eyes, and he goes, I mean, he takes a big breath. I mean, I'm back in prison. They got me on, work details. They tell me I keep getting in fights. And he starts to drift off again.
What do you do in a workday?
Well, they come and tell me that we're going to work, and they tell us what we're gonna be, where we're gonna be assigned, and then we go through the gate, and then we work, and then we come home, and they lock us back up.
What work do you do?
He tries to focus and seems to be having trouble doing so. He's like, work detail bullshit.
Just kind of like let out a soft sigh a little bit and just kind of scratch the back of my head.
He steps away from the wall a little bit and goes to sit on the edge of his bed. As he sits down, you can tell that not just is there a metal spike coming out the back of his neck and like going around the outside of his neck to his chest. There appears to be some sort of like almost like superstructure built down the back of his spine.
The only thing I can think of is the Spider-Man movie with Doc Ock, where he's got like right you are. That's why I have this chip back here.
I mean, you're not wrong. It probably looks similar to that. Yeah.
I'm just gonna look over at Dyne and go, how possible is it to affect people's memories with machines like this? You ever seen or heard anything like this?
Oh, by the way, important to know, he's not wearing any protective equipment. You guys, even in this building, are still reading not as bad as outside, but dangerous levels of noxious fumes on your suit readings that warn you not to take off your helmets.
Before I answer Steve's question, does this, these protrusions look similar to that device we found when we were investigating earlier?
Putting two and two together, installed in someone, this does look what would show outside of someone's body if that was installed.
I look at Steve and I go, I don't know, but we've definitely seen what those installations in Zippo's body look like when they're not in a person. Back when we were investigating, remember?
I do.
I suspect they're made to allow the people to work in, as I kind of like gesture around this environment.
Zippo, kind of talking to himself, repeats, I wake up and they tell me I'm on work detail and they give me an assignment and a piece of paper. And then I go down and then I go through the gate. And then he gets much more vague. He goes, and then I go to work. And then I come home through the gate. And then he's more detailed about what he does when he gets back.
Mm-hmm. Shoot. Zippo, I don't... Going through that gate seems to mess with your memory. They have you working on something down here they don't want people to know about.
He like looks up at you like semi, like not understanding you, but like trying to put pieces together. And it's obvious that like this is difficult for him.
Okay.
I've been getting real tired recently.
Try not to think of details, okay? Just use your gut, your instincts. Do you remember before you came here? Remember the people you were with? You remember me?
Yeah, sure I do. You stuck up for me when we got in that brawl in the cafeteria.
For what good it did me, I went to solitary.
Yeah, well, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them, right? Who's them?
Them, the corpos. They came here and they told us they were gonna resettle the planet, and they have us working in these fucking factories, and half of us they don't give any work to. No one can find a job. I'm just lucky to have a job to put food in my face.
But they're bad.
He shakes his head. Oh God, yeah, no, I'd never work for them.
Can we do anything about this, Dyne?
I don't think I'm skilled enough in this particular area to be able to do anything.
Look, you're a doctor, aren't you?
Yeah, but this is not my area of expertise. I do have a question though, Bob. Can I do like a patch check to see, like, we know how bad the atmosphere is. I'm curious about how, if any, level of progression of like how this atmosphere would affect him is apparent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Make me a check. I'll give you accuracy on the roll.
Okay. Accurate patch. Even with accuracy, I rolled an 8.
It is hard to tell without more advanced medical equipment on you. You can't piece out what you don't have a baseline for him.
Right.
You don't know what he's like normally. You don't know what people who have this procedure done to them are like normally. So it is hard for you to pick out anything that would be specific for the atmosphere.
Right. Okay. I just look at Steve and I go, it's almost like he's part man, part machine. And I don't know the extent of which this is affecting him. So I don't know how I could possibly undo it. At least not without spending significantly more time than we have.
All right. Do you meet with other people here? Are there other rebels here with you, Zippo?
Rebels? I mean, we don't get to talk a lot. I know there's other people here in the building with me, but every time I'm caught putting groups together, they give me a few weeks on the breaths.
And what's that?
Well, it's he struggles a little bit, but this he's able to seem to piece together after some, like, it seems like he knows enough to be afraid of it as he discusses it with you. Toughest work assignment, further out from the controlled areas. Most industrial accidents take place there. More exposure, that kind of stuff.
Do you know where it is, roughly? Direction, even?
He, like, closes his eyes and, like, blinks heavily a few times, and, like, you can see him trying to, like, put anything together. He's like, I don't see anything. I just see black when I close my eyes. He like, puts his hand to his head like he's struggling with something. He's like, what's wrong with me?
Hey, look. The corpo's got their fingers in your brain right now. We assaulted the place they're being held and took care of what we think are the guards here. You want to help us get back at them?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I do.
I just kind of put my hand over my eyes for a second and look over at Dyne. Do you think you and COMET might be able to at least loosen the hold they have on him so he can help us out?
Maybe. We can certainly give it a go.
Alright. Pretty reasonable to assume if I like shortwave radio to Dyne, I'm not thinking people are going to pick up on it, or is that
No. I specifically said any long range transmissions are the things that this base was defended against, or on the lookout for. Things that are in like quote unquote sensor range, like on a game map that would be like within like 20 squares for someone who had a really good sensor range, not an issue.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to message COMET at this point then, and it's been 40 minutes?
That's what I was gonna say. Yep.
Okay. And then I'll ask, hey, COMET, can you come to, and then I'll give him the directions where we're at, and ask Evelene if she can finish the rest of your repairs for you.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be on my way.
Is that fair, Bob?
I would say if Evelene takes an extra 20 minutes to finish off COMET's minus 20 minutes, then absolutely. It just means you really won't be able to use Evelene for anything else during this hour and a half.
Are you cool with that, Chuck?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
I think that 3 people was more than enough to figure out what's going on, and I can just heck, maybe I can be sort of a lookout to see if anyone else is coming up.
Sounds
In a
good.
way, it makes sense too, because Evelene, you are the best mech tech that the team has. So they need Astro. Astro, what you just pass off to Evelene, or what happens here?
Yeah, I'm like, I'll tell Evelene, they need me for something, apparently. Would you be able to finish the repairs once you're done with yours?
Evelyn doesn't even look up from her work. She kind of just like nods and waves her hands. Well, you owe me a drink when we get back.
Um,
And you can't
all
use
right.
my stash. You actually have to buy one, Astro.
all right, rounds on me
All right,
once we're done with all this.
Go figure out
And
whatever
I'll-
weird shit they're finding.
And I'll just explain what I've done so far. and
Okay.
what
Sure.
needs to.
I imagine as Astro's walking away, he thinks to himself, "Wait, I'm her boss, right?"
Wait a
You're
second.
ruining it. You're breaking the spell.
She has to do what I say.
Actually, do you pass any information along of what you found so far, or did you just ask for Astro?
I'm just
I
assuming
don't.
what
I don't
they said.
think. Yeah, just what I said. I don't think we're being recorded or anything, but I do want to limit any kind of messages going through or anything right now, right? So I
that's
would have
fair.
just said
Yeah.
what I said. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so Astro, you head to the apartment building with directions. You are able to quickly find your way into the building. You pass your way past that gate that says ST3 on it as you enter the building. And as you do, it makes a din noise as you pass. You hear a little bit of whirring and lights going on and off in the gate as you pass it, but nothing else apparent seems to happen. And you are able to find your way to the staircase, up to the 3rd floor, and over to 305, where you find Dyne and Steve inside with a burly gentleman. He is big, imposing, but maybe looks a little sallow right now. Maybe lost a bit color. Maybe his cheeks look a little bit sunken to you, Astro, as you enter. You see that he has kind of extra bodily evidence of implantations on his body. You see kind of like a little metal plating that comes around from the back of his neck, around the sides. You see a kind of like a line of metal, almost like a seam that goes from the bottom of his chin down through his Adam's apple, like, and continues underneath his shirt, where you assume it continues further down his chest. And around his back, as you come in, he's kind of like seated on the bottom of his bed. So you kind of see him in profile. You see these kind of like spike exospine that goes down, augmenting his own spine that seems to be sticking out of his back.
Astro kind of starts because he wasn't necessarily expecting another person there, and certainly not one with these huge implants. And then he's just like, who have we here?
This is Zippo. He's an old rebel buddy of mine.
Zippo looks over to you. He kind of like squints at you, like raises one hand in greeting and goes, "Hey."
Hi, Zippo. Pleasure to meet you. Sander Nova here.
You and Dyne took a look at the stuff back at the research facility we went to. Do you think you can maybe disrupt this on him?
And as he says that, you kind of get a sense, Astro, as you're looking at it, yeah, this kind of looks like those things you found the details for in Doc Grosser's facility. These appear to be those cybernetics you heard referred to in the documentation as a segmentation tether. Never able to completely find out what it was for, but it's in this person. They have done the procedure to this person.
Yeah, so you see like a sense of understanding or familiarity wash over Astro's face, and he's like, "Oh, that's what that's for." And he says, "Well, gosh, I mean, I don't know. It's sort of experimental technology I don't know anything about, but I can certainly try."
What I will be looking for here is a combination of medicine and technology checks.
Okay.
I will allow the group to work as a team to do this.
Okay.
Well, I can certainly patch.
I think I can hack or fix with the intention of somehow disabling it.
I'm going to need a total of 4 checks amongst the 3 of you.
And they
every
different things.
If you get at least 2 successes amongst the 4 checks, you will get some information. But every check beyond that you get will give you more information. So 2, 3, and 4 checks all get you different levels of info.
I would like to keep a very close eye on him and concentrate on how he's reacting to what they're doing, and you stay cool for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can go ahead and kind of like respond quickly to any signs that he might be showing to like give info to Orion and COMET as this is going on. So yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and make that check.
I should do mine like after theirs, right?
You should probably do yours after. That makes more sense thematically. Yeah. So yeah, Orion or COMET, who wants to start here? Are you going to start with looking at the cybernetics themselves or the implantation and how it's fused into his body?
I'll go first. That's fine.
All right.
Okay.
11.
Yeah, Dyne, you start to look at how the various mechanical pieces of this thing are fused into his body. It is very much following the brief you found in the LIT clinic. yeah, let's see how you follow up on this. Are you gonna go next then, Astro?
Yeah, I'll go next. I'll examine the cybernetics themselves, and I'm gonna try to figure out how I can interface with them.
Okay, absolutely.
And maybe gain some level of control over their functions. And I'll roll hack or fix for that. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
All right. Roll it up. 17.
All right. You start messing with the bits of cybernetics that you have access to that aren't buried deep within his body to get a sense of what you're dealing with. I think now would be a good time as they're kind of like poking and prodding him both bodily and cybernetically to see if Steve is able to pick up on anything here.
16.
All right. And with a 16, Steve, you keep track. You're able to tell, actually, there's an interesting thing happening that as they're examining bits of it, like you're able to piece out like, okay, like I can actually see how his response is changing based on like how close they're getting to answers. Let's get one final check to see if you guys have succeeded on all four so I can see how open I can be about what you find here. Who wants to make a capstone check to see like the culmination of this information?
I don't feel like that should be me.
I mean, I do it, but I'm not there.
Well, we could do something like an investigate check, taking the information both myself and Dyne have recovered and trying to piece it together, figure out.
Yeah, we can do that.
How it works. Like
I've got a plus 4.
The medical
what do you have?
Stuff you found out and the cybernetic stuff I found out, how they work in concert with each other.
Can we both make investigate checks as like helping each other because we're piecing together successful check information?
This is because you have already gained 3 successes. That's what you've gotten from that, right? You have 3 successes worth of data. This is the capstone one. So it is going to be just a single check I'll need from one of you. I do recommend it's whoever has the highest bonus should just do it.
What's your investigate?
Plus 4.
Then you do it.
Okay.
Mine's plus 2.
19.
Oh, just short of a 20.
With 4 successful checks, the 3 of you working together with Zippo are able to unearth some frankly disturbing things about how the segmentation tether works. Steve, your stay cool and checks are kind of you talking or keeping Zippo kind of engaged and not thinking too much about what's going on as your 2 friends kind of really take a look at what's happened to him, making sure he doesn't stress out too much. You do see how he kind of like phases from time to time as he's like almost like physiologically overwhelmed by what's happened to him. But you're able to kind of keep him attentive, keep him upright, not working against their efforts. Orion and COMET, the 2 of you work together to see how these things have been wedged into his body. And to start, firstly, you were able to determine these are actually a combination of 2 different implant systems, we'll call them, that are kind of linked together. This segmentation tether has 2 major parts: the part that interfaces with the subject's brain and the part that interfaces with the subject's lungs. A complex series of fibers and wires and tubing systems pumping various materials in and out of the patient's lungs seem to be allowing Zippo to, maybe at a 95% efficiency rate, reduce the amount of strain he takes from being on this planet. It allows him to be unsuited here. It allows him to move about in these spaces in, basic attire without him basically succumbing and passing out. But it is not 100% efficient. You were able to find, because you were able to dig quite deeply into what's happening here, Dyne, as you get a bigger sense of how it's connected, you start to see the signs of toxicity in his body. Places where bruising seems to have come up in various parts of his body that don't seem to be healing correctly. You can see bits where his skin is getting thinner. He does appear to be suffering some amount of repercussion, but it is far more than the average person would be able to do. And you believe perhaps like he's been here for weeks, probably, after this procedure sent him down here. Astro, as you kind of examine the cybernetic bits of it, you can see how the pumps exchange the toxins in and out of his blood. And they are tied to a very specific thing in his body. And it seems that if both parts of this cybernetic do not work, none of it works. So it does seem that the other part of this tether, this segmentation tether, if the brain part of this component were to ever stop working, the lung component would stop working as well. You were able to note that what the brain component of the implant seems to be doing is causing the patient's mind to break into segments. Examining the cybernetics and figuring out how you might be able to interface with them, you were able to determine a couple of concerning things. It appears, first, that this has probably irrevocably completely modified Zippo's normal brain patterns. You don't think, even if you can help with much of it, he will ever be back completely to the way he was. They have broken his consciousness. It appears that who he is when he is here in the residential building is not the same person as who he is when he's on work detail. They have separated the Zippo who is outside the factory from the Zippo who is inside the factory. And it appears it seems that these gates seem to function as triggers to interface with the cybernetics to switch which ego is controlling Zippo's body.
That's what the show Severance is, by the way.
I'm aware of that.
I was just about to say that. Thank you.
So that's very interesting.
With this combined investigation check, you imagine it would be an excellent way to keep secret whatever these people are working on, even from the people who are working on it. Even the people who work on what's being built here have no idea what they're building.
So, yeah, I'll say to the others, sort of under my breath, so Zippo can't really hear. I'll say, whatever they did to him, when he's at work, it's like it's a different person. He doesn't retain any memories of the person he was at work. That's why it's called a segmentation. What's it called? Segmentation
tethered.
As
it is also tethered to basically a kill switch. If this brain cybernetic were ever disabled, it would also turn off the lung cybernetic that is allowing him to breathe.
Okay, yeah, I'll say that's why it's called a segmentation tether. It's like they segmented his mind.
That's all well and good, but can he be useful to us?
That's hard to say.
I'm not there, but I have an obvious suggestion. I'm not sure if I'll have to give it or
you're not there then, man.
Yeah, I guess I'm not there. Never mind then. I'm just saying there's an answer. That's it.
I'll say, well, he probably cannot give us intelligence about what he's doing unless we somehow activate that part of his brain.
Well, it seems to trigger after he passes through that doorway. And we could just take him through and see what happens, but who knows what's going to happen when he goes through, exactly.
We could be dealing with a different person, one that may be hostile to us. It's hard to say. But do I have a sense that, maybe I don't know this, it might be too complicated, but the segmentation, essentially it's creating two egos or two personas.
At least, if not more.
Do I have a sense they all branch from, like, the person he was before this was installed in him? Or is it possible these could be entirely different personalities, almost like a multi-personality thing?
It is possible they are completely separate. I'm not saying that that's the case.
Yeah.
But I'm saying based on the information you have currently, it is possible they are entirely separate.
I'll just say that. I'll raise the possibility. It could be that, he has multiple personalities. It may not be that when he goes to work, that personality is based off of who he was. We just don't know. So there's a little risk, but it is perhaps worth the risk to see what kind of information we can get.
I purse my lips and look at him for a second, and then the piece of paper that's still in my hand and go, nah, he's still him when he passes through here. And I'll just hand the paper to COMET.
Look at the paper. Is this the Demerits?
It says Demaree, yeah, room 305, Zippo Edge, 2 weeks on the breaths.
So he probably has kept that rebellious streak throughout.
Or at the very least, aggressive. And if he's able to channel that aggression anywhere, it's channeled at the corpos.
Makes sense. Well, let's. I guess let's take him through the gate and see what we can learn.
Zippo looks up at the lot of you and goes, "I'm sorry, what? Where are we going?"
We are going to take you to work.
I was hoping you were going to get me out of here.
Well, we are trying to, but we have to go to work to get you out of here.
He, rubs his head a little bit, and he's like, yeah, I guess I know how to get there. I do it every day, right?
I just don't answer. Okay. Well, let's get going.
All right. And with you all finding Zippo, discovering what the nature of the segmentation tether and maybe a bit of what is going on down on this black site on the planet, we're going to go ahead and call this episode here. We will pick back up with what happens beyond that gate with Zippo and what further investigations you might find at 7106 in our next episode.
All right, cool.
All right, we'll see y'all next time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.